We're here today in the record shop, talking to my very dear friend Chantel Thompson, Spencer Evans, sitting here talking to Alex Vizia. So welcome to the record shop. We're here today with my buddy Charles Pud Ryce. He's a famous sound tech and roadie. I mean, from the old days. Worked with a lot of local bands. He's a good friend of mine. Welcome to the show.
Well, thanks, Gary.
Yeah.
What would you like to know from me?
Well,
and don't make me cry.
Well, we won't be tough on you. We're really gentle here.
Sweet.
We mostly just want to start with your history in music. What records got you started in liking music?
Well, when I was about 8 or 9, my parents bought me a small record player, portable.
Yeah.
And my first 2 albums were Roger Miller, The Best Of, which I didn't really listen to for years. Couldn't appreciate what he was on, and the Monkees, which drove me crazy, and that's where I fell in love with music. And
did you have a favorite song on the Monkees album?
All of them.
Yeah,
all of them.
Did you watch their TV show?
Oh yeah, as well as the Partridge Family.
Oh, the Partridge Family. Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah.
It was always really hot for Laurie. She was a babe.
Yeah,
Partridge.
Yeah, yes. This is
Susan Day.
That
was her real name. And,
or was it D?
I think it was Day.
D-E-Y.
Could be.
Okay.
And
Google that stuff.
And yeah, Dave Carradine. He was always a cool dude.
Cassidy.
Oh yeah. Dave Carradine. Okay. That was Kung Fu. So you like the Monkees? Were there other bands that came along after the Monkees that you remember?
Well, I doing catch up on the Beatles, obviously, and then you name it. I loved every rock band out there. Just loved them all.
Cool. So from there, did you pick up an instrument, or did you just go straight into like the world of tech?
Yes, Gary, I did pick up an instrument. I picked up the guitar, did a few gigs, and hung out with a lot of basement bands where I met people like Doug Valier, Ron Prunster, Matt Woodward, and I realized I just didn't have the chops for live playing. Yeah. But I recognized that I had a talent for organizing and putting stuff together, so I went to the technical end of it.
Yeah, well, those were some famous musicians. I know Matt's still playing in a lot of bands around town. We unfortunately lost Ronnie and Doug
very sad
years ago. But both good friends of mine and played in lots of bands. Did you work with Doug and Ron in a few bands?
Oh yeah. Doug and I started out together. Well, he was learning bass, I was learning guitar, and we hung out. And for years, if you wanted Doug Valier in the band, I had to come along for the ride. So it was pretty cool. Yeah,
well, we all miss the boys, but there's a few of us still around, and you're still around, live and kicking. What are some of the other artists you worked with back in the day? Were there
locally?
I guess there was the Mahones.
Yeah, the Mahones. Actually, because of my connection with SS Sound and Queen's University, I got to work with a lot of bands, both locally and out-of-town bands.
So you worked over at the shows at Queen's, like in Alfie's
Pub. I did bands like Jeff Healey there.
Yeah.
An amazing performer.
Yep. Nice guy. He's a big record collector too.
Yeah, I knew that about him.
He used to come to the record shows, and he could tell by touching the labels of certain records, he could tell what they were.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. He collected 78s mainly. But yeah, Jeff was a really super guy. And so yeah, he worked with the Mahones. There was a band that played a lot of gigs around town called the Pariahs.
Oh, yeah. Pariahs. I dug those cats big time. And they were amazing to me.
Yeah.
And yeah, I backed them 100%. Moved to Toronto with them, actually.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they did the whole move out of town and trying to make it on their own. They did pretty good for a while.
Yeah, they were. They were a pretty good band.
Now there was a performer I really like is Pat Temple, and you've done some work with Pat.
Oh yeah,
in the past.
Love Pat. Yeah, him and Dave Allen and a few of the other people that he put together. Spencer, Chris, Dave. Yeah, amazing performer. I got to gig with him quite a bit, and I actually recorded with him.
Yeah, where was that at?
Well, we did a live recording called Cold Cuts at the Horseshoe in Toronto.
Classic venue.
But the beautiful thing about this recording is one of the tracks, a bonus track, is called Theater of the Open Heart. And it was recorded up in cottage country on a week we went up in a barn. And we just recorded for hours and hours and hours. When we first landed, though, we wanted to set the gear up, and I wanted a test run so I could take it back to the cottage and see what we're working with. And it started to rain. It had a rain shower. Mm-hmm. And everybody said, well, there's no point in doing this. And I said to Pat, well, at least let me get a test run. And I said, by the way, if you have a song where rain on a tin roof would not be a problem,
yeah,
do that one. So he did one, and funny enough, the rain on the roofs seemed to crescendo at the right moments. And out of all those hours and hours and hours of recording, that song ended up on the album. It's just special. I think because of the humidity, it was a hot summer day, sun shower. I think the humidity and just everything made the sound fatter. And it was a beautiful thing.
Well, I love Pat, and he's still around playing out of the Peterborough area.
Yeah.
He plays with a good friend of mine, Logan Murray, and
hello, Logan.
Yeah. What's been catching your ear lately? Is there any bands that have been coming along, or are you?
You know what, Gary? I'm pretty much out of the loop these days. I spent so many years beating up on my ears doing music that I'm kind of into quiet right now.
Oh yeah.
And I find there's nothing interesting out there anymore, but I'm not looking for interesting things. Maybe you could turn me on to that
Well,
stuff.
That's what I do around here. There's all kinds of new music and old music that I've discovered too. I listen to my customers a lot. They teach me so much. What about performers that you've seen in concert? Are there any real standouts over the years?
Oh, well, I never paid to go see anybody. It was like a busman's holiday for me. Mm-hmm. I always got in free or was working the show. I love doing monitor mixes. Although they're very demanding usually, they're also a sweet spot to check a band out. I remember Steve Earle. I've worked with him quite a few times. Always amazing, whether it's solo or he's got the full 9-piece.
He used to come to stages quite a bit.
Yeah, did him there every time, and an amazing performer and an interesting person and wonderful person too.
Yeah, he was good friends with our old buddy Wally.
Wally. Yes.
He was a big supporter of the live music scene back in the day.
Oh, Wally was a great friend to have.
Good friends with Dan Aykroyd as well.
Yeah.
Well, let's just go over what. Let's see. I've asked you about the music industry. Oh yeah, your brother's band. You didn't talk about. You want to talk
My
about
brother
that?
James.
Yeah. Well, let's finish up with a little bit of talk about your brother's band. They were called My Brother James.
Yeah, my brother James. Mauro Seppi and I had been working together on different little things, projects over the years.
Mauro's a drummer.
Yeah, great drummer. And one day after coming off of a long tour, I was at home and my baby brother James showed up and grabbed my guitar, and I couldn't believe the voice I was hearing, and it was an original song. And I said, why am I out mixing these hacks out there when I've got gold sitting at home? So I talked to Mauro and I said, Mauro, you got to hear my brother play. We listened, and we were putting a band together for him. We kept referring to him as My Brother James, the band I'm putting together for My Brother James. And we realized that's a great country band name. So we stuck that, and we grabbed David Finkel, an amazing bass player from the Belleville area, and Rob Lurie, great guitars, amazing guitars. And
Mauro on the drum kit.
Mauro on the drum kit, and James acoustic guitar and
so they wrote
vocals.
an original music?
Oh yeah, they had a shot at it, but like a lot of bands, you implode. It's hard to keep a band together.
Yeah. How long did they stay together?
They were together for a couple years. Yeah.
Just playing the circuit.
Well, not this circuit. We were doing coast to coast.
Oh yeah? Across
Yeah.
Canada.
Yeah. And there was noise being made about them, but as I said...
Yeah. Well, who was the local booking guy back in the day?
Bernie Dobbin.
Dobbin Agency, right.
Yeah. I love Bernie. He was funny.
Yeah.
In my early days, starting out doing sound, obviously I was the low man on the totem pole.
Oh yeah.
So I used to get all the crap gigs, out of town gigs, with the Frankenstein PAs, whatever they could put together.
Piece it together.
And we called it the Bernie Dobbin Star of David tour, just all over the map.
Yeah.
But good soul. I love Bernie.
Well, he used to book everybody back then.
Oh yeah, he was the man. He was.
Did you ever work with the Hip much?
Yeah,
Tragically Hip.
early days. In fact, Davis, the sax player they had in the early days, lived with me and my girlfriend at 90 Rito,
Okay.
which everybody called Rhodes Central, because we had so many road crew people and musicians living there. It was a big house.
Oh yeah, 90
Great kitchen jams, and we'd have, anytime we had bands from out of town, we would host after parties and have great kitchen jams. And actually 90 Rito was responsible for a lot of local bands being able to connect, because it was a place where they could sit and chat and then jam a bit and go, you and I, we should be doing something. So
Yeah.
a lot of bands started that way.
Well, yeah, the late night get-togethers, when people are a little more relaxed and they can focus on just having fun.
Having fun.
So
And we did that.
a little too much, maybe.
Maybe a little too much.
Well, it's really been nice talking to you, Pud, and it's been too long. We haven't seen you around too much, but we hope to see you around a little bit more.
I'm still kicking.
Yeah, we all have had a tough couple of years, but I think we're coming out of that, and good times ahead.
Right on.
I want to thank you for coming by today. It's been really great talking.
Thanks, Gary.
And I want to thank my cameraman, Brent.
Thank you, Brent.
And thank everyone for watching the videos.
Thank you.
There'll be more coming, and have a good afternoon.
Be peaceful.